Before I begin today's review, I'd like to say thank you to all my supporters out there. I started this channel a little over a year ago, and I'm honestly surprised of all the positive feedback I've received in the last 12 months. I never thought I'd be so welcome or have as many subscribers as I do. Sure, many people out there might say my subscriber numbers are nothing to get excited about, but to me, having more than 30 people tuning in just to hear my thoughts about anime and video games is amazing to me. It truly means a lot to me. So if you have ever liked, shared, subscribed, commented, or heck, just watched one of my videos, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my otaku heart. Now with all those feels out of the way, let's get this thing started. What's up, people? Welcome to RoR Reviews, where I rate and rain upon video games and anime with an analog eye until the sun sets. Today I'll be taking a look at the anime New Game. New Game is a 12-episode comedy slice-of-life series. It is based off a 4-panel manga series of the same name by Shotaro Tokuno. The animation production behind the series is Daga Kubo, the same studio that worked on other recent titles such as Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun and Plastic Memories. This show just ended its run in Japan, so there's no official parental guidelines here in America. But if I had to guess, I would say it would be rated TV PG due to its suggestive sexual content. At the time of this review, New Game isn't scheduled for a home release in North America, but you can legally stream it with English subtitles for free on Crunchyroll. New Game follows the life of Suzakaze Aoba, a recent high school graduate who decides to pursue her long life dream of working in the video game industry as an artist. She manages to get a job working at the game company Eagle Jump as a character designer. Our story begins on her first day on the job, where she meets her fellow co-workers Rin Toyama, the gentle art director, Ko Yogami, the carefree lead character designer, Yun Aijima, the gothic monster designer, Hifumi Takimoto, the fellow shy character designer, and Hajime Shinoda, the energetic animator. Aoba later finds out she is working on Fairy Story 3, a very popular RPG series that she personally loved as a kid and was one of the biggest influences in her life to pursue a career in video games. However, she has a lot to learn due to her lack of experience. Thankfully, her coworkers are more than willingly to give her a helping hand. Viewers get to see Alba and her new friends have fun at work and get a glimpse of what it's like creating a video game. As a gamer myself, this anime already had my interest from episode 1. I've always been interested in game development and have studied some of the various aspects of creating a video game, so I have a decent understanding of what it takes to make a video game, and I'm happy to say this show has a fairly accurate depiction of what it's like making a video game. I thought the show would mostly focus on the fun, wacky adventures of young women being innocent and silly, yet there are plenty of times that the game creation process is an important part of the overall plot. However, if you're expecting a deep look into game design, like how Shirobako is to the anime industry or Bakuman is to the manga industry, then you'll be greatly disappointed. New Game's main plot is cute girls being cute, and the video game industry is just the vehicle that moves the plot forward. But thankfully, the plot does indeed move forward. It would be like if K-On! Was actually about creating music once in a while. I do wish we got to see more of the other teams working on the game, like the writers, producers, and programmers, but the story mostly focuses on the art side of game creation. There is technically one character who represents the programming side, named Yumiko Ahagan, but we never really get to see what it's like being a programmer in the video game industry, which I personally think is the hardest job in the industry. Speaking about characters, let's talk about the main cast. I did enjoy the cast's individual personalities. Are they very original? No, probably not. But I still had fun watching their humorous interactions with one another. The weakest character in my opinion would be Yun, since she has the least amount of screen time and she acts too similar to Alba. I don't think the show utilizes her personality enough, especially in the fact that she's into monsters and the goth scene. I did chuckle at the majority of the jokes and situations in the New Game. I laughed the most during the times when the 20-something-year-olds were trying to act like a responsible adult when deep down they're still just a bunch of awkward nerdy teens. The characters are mostly entertaining, but New Game did lack in the character development department. Sure, we get to see Alba become a more successful artist, but I don't feel like we get to see her change much from the beginning to the end. I would argue Ko has the most development in this anime. The problem is that the show really doesn't take its time to show us how Ko changes. It simply tells us by using conveniently short flashbacks when she first started in the industry. I personally would have liked to see a dedicated episode to Ko's journey as an artist in the gaming industry. Oh well, maybe in season 2? What you see is what you get in New Game's art style. Everyone is drawn bright and colorful with big eyes and cute expressions. So much so that it would be hard to distinguish each character's age if they were all wearing school uniforms. Although you could argue this would be fairly normal, since the biggest age difference between the main cast is like 8 years. I swear this gaming company has like the most talented young game makers in the country in order for this to be a real thing. I like the fact that we get to see more characters in multiple outfits throughout the series. A lot of anime titles take place during middle school or high school, so viewers hardly see characters in anything but their school uniforms. So it was refreshing to see something out of the usual. Plus their style of clothes help establish each character's individual personality. One huge complaint I have with New Game's art decision is its unnecessary sexual fan service. This anime, like so many others out there, can't help itself from stupid chest and butt angles, and one too many undressing scenes. Granted, the anime doesn't do this enough to make me stop watching the show, but it really seems out of place when most of the show depicts women in a positive and empowering position to all of a sudden being reduced to their physical attributes. Okay, let me try to focus on the bright side by discussing the animation. Most anime series in this genre tend not to have the most impressive animation production. However, that is not the case in New Game. I found the animation to be slightly above the industry standard. Many of the characters react using their entire bodies and their funny facial expressions. There are also certain scenes where the animes go all out and put in a lot of details in a character's movements, or try to have perfect lip syncing like in the show's opening theme song. I was also very impressed by some of the background work done in the show. Whenever the characters were out of the office, I couldn't help but be amazed at the level of detail in the background, like when they go to the electronics store and you see all the little advertisements throughout the store, or when they go to the game convention you see all the huge elaborate Japanese video game booths. While I have never personally been in Japan, this anime really made me feel like the story takes place in Japan and was surrounded by its cultural wonder. The Japanese voice acting was fine, from what I can tell as a non-Japanese speaking person. Aoba sounds young and inexperienced, Hajime comes off as hyper and loud, and I think Hifumi sounds reserved and indecisive. If I had to pick a favorite voice actress, I would pick Eri Kamura, who plays Shizaku Hazuki, the game director of the show, who pops up every now and then just to toy with the employees for her own personal amusement. If I had to pick a least favorite seiyuu, that would be Madoka Asahina's high-pitched Nene Sakura. Sakura's Aoba's childhood friend, who is also a nerd. I was okay with this character in the beginning because she doesn't have many scenes. However, she has more importance towards the end of the show, and her squeaky voice was starting to get on my nerves. On the positive side, the original soundtrack music for New Game didn't make me want to put on earmuffs like you know who, though the music didn't make me want to get out of my seat either. The OST is very much background music. It is never in the foreground, much like music playing in an elevator. The opening theme song is super sweet and cheerful J-pop that is sung by the main cast. I found it to be catchy, though I did start getting tired of it after watching a few episodes back to back. The animation is very fluid and colorful in its opening number, and the animators really did try to lip sync the music with each voice actress's lines. The OP really does a good job at representing the show's characters, like how Hifumi looks uncomfortable singing and jumping around all over the place in the opening number. I really appreciate that kind of level of detail. The ending theme song is more of an upbeat J-rock number that is also sung by the main cast. It illustrates the characters in a more innocent look by having them all dressed up in pure white, and has fairly limited animation like most anime ending theme songs do. I prefer the opening theme song if I had to pick one, but I don't think I'll be adding either song into my phone anytime soon. To recap, I rather like the premise of the show, even at its surface level understanding of how game development works. I laugh more often than not at the show's humor dealing with the hardships of growing up. Most of the characters added something to the series, but I wish there was more significant character development. The art is adorable and it is nice to see a setting outside the classroom, though I had many concerns about the unnecessary sexual fan service. The Japanese voice acting was on par, with the exception of the one glass shatterer, and the music had good timing even though it was forgettable at the end of the day. Based on my own personal preferences, I give New Game a 3 out of 5, and a recommendation to skip it. While I was entertained watching New Game, and by no means think it's a bad show, I just don't think there's enough here to warrant the average viewer to add this title to their must-watch anime list. If you're into video games and cute girls being silly, then New Game might be for you. If you can't stand the moe genre, unnecessary sexual fan service, or want a real look into the video game industry, then this show might not be for you. But hey, that's just my opinion. Have you seen New Game? What did you think of it? Can you believe real Japanese workers sleep under their desk most of the time? Let me hear your thoughts below in the comments section. Well, that about concludes my anime review for today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and share this video with others. If you want to keep up to date with all my video reviews, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, Rayden Reviews, where I plan on having more reviews of video games and anime. If you want to see what I'm up to in between videos, feel free to look me up on social media. Links for those will be posted in the video description. Thanks so much for watching. I was Rayden, and I'll see you guys again when the sun rises out.